Yeah, he had a great run, and it's fun to watch. I think I watched Indiana State and Iowa. Caitlyn Clark play about the same last year, so I watched a lot of basketball.
History doesn't whisper when legends and emerging talents meet. It roars. What started off as a standard postgame, nobody could have planned the thrilling event that became the interview. As a towering figure from the heyday of basketball walked forward and broke expectations with a single gesture, cameras recorded every second. The audience froze. The internet went crazy, and Caitlyn was left stunned. Everything changed with a single motion and microphone. However, what actually happened in that memorable flash? Hold on tight. Basketball is not as important as this moment. Now that Caitlyn Clark is here, everything is being changed. One name seemed to stand out more than the others in a season full with highlights. Clark, Caitlyn. Expectations were high from the time the Indiana Fever selected her in the April 2024 draft. But living up to the hype wasn't the only thing that transpired next. It was about completely redefining what a rookie could be. With her deep threes, fluid passes, and unwavering confidence, Clark did more than just enter the WNBA. She ignited it. Her stats alone were astounding, averaging 19.2 points, 8.4 assists, and 5.7 rebounds per game. However, statistics only provide a portion of the picture. Clark made an immediate impression in a league where newcomers typically take years to establish themselves. She became the first rookie in WNBA history to record a triple-double with her record-breaking 337 assists and 122 made three-pointers. These are declarations rather than merely significant events. Here's the twist, though. It's possible that Clark's actual strength lies much beyond the scoreboard. Her presence seemed to uplift the league as a whole, with every arena sold out and every crowd feeling excited. Clark attracted more than 1 million TV viewers per game, which was previously thought to be practically unachievable in women's professional basketball, in a sport that has battled for public attention. The Indiana Fever moved from being underdogs to becoming a must-watch team overnight, as seen by the 400% increase in ticket sales following her draft selection alone. Is it a coincidence? Not very likely. The Caitlyn effect, according to some admirers, seems more like a movement than a single instance. Is she really that excellent? Or is she the final component the league has been seeking? The fact that millions of people now follow her on social media due to her magnetic charisma just serves to stoke the flames. Regardless of whether you enjoy the game or simply enjoy a good story, Clark inspires viewers to watch, converse, and have faith in the possibilities. However, there are still unanswered questions behind all the celebrity and craze. Is it possible for a rookie to carry a franchise and possibly a league? Or are we seeing the beginning of something even more significant? Nobody anticipated it. There's no denying that Caitlyn Clark took over rather than simply showing up. And if this is only the beginning, basketball fans everywhere might want to fasten their seatbelts since the future of the sport might already be here. In addition, she has on a Fever jersey. What if, however, a single rookie is altering the entire game? Is Clark able to lead a franchise and usher in a new era? Keep your eyes fixed on your screen. Caitlyn Clark, Larry Bird, and the commotion in Indiana. Before it wasn't. It began like any other courtside moment. The atmosphere shifted, cameras swung, and whispers began to rise. And then, in an unexpected move, Larry Bird moved in and did something that left analysts and fans reeling. He picked up the microphone. Caitlyn Clark is performing in front of an enthusiastic Indiana audience, not just any microphone. Was it a premeditated gesture, an unplanned expression of admiration, or something else entirely? Although Bird is considered a Celtics legend by most, he is more than that in Indiana. He is royalty in basketball. Larry Bird, who was born in French Lick and is well known in the state for his basketball skills, came home to coach the Indiana Pacers from 1997 to 2000, leading them to the NBA Finals in that year. His astute observation and straightforward manner later shaped the team's identity as president of basketball operations. His DNA is Indiana basketball, so when someone fresh starts to shine as brightly as he did, it's not missed. It's interesting to note that Caitlyn Clark is a rising star who is revolutionizing women's basketball thanks to her unwavering presence on the court, her scorching shot, and her unparalleled vision. She does more than just play, just like Bird. She dominates, plans, and orchestrates. It's hard to ignore the echoes of greatness she's generating, even though her link to Indiana is new. Therefore, it wasn't simply legend and prodigy when Bird came up. It was Indiana's history attempting to influence its present. The internet blew up, of course. What did he say? Was it support, guidance, or perhaps a symbolic handoff of the torch? Despite the lack of official confirmation, people are already generating wild speculations. Is Bird suggesting a more significant part in Clark's journey? Maybe mentoring? An inner working partnership? Or was it just a case of one legend instantly identifying another? The message was obvious, and the moment was electrifying regardless of the truth. The greatness knows the grandeur. Larry Bird seizing Caitlyn Clark's microphone might have only lasted a few seconds, regardless of whether it was premeditated or just instinctual. However, it seemed like an eternity in basketball terms. The kind of moment where supporters are reminded of the reasons they adore the game. Not only for the plays and points, but also for the unforeseen magic that occurs when history looks to the future. Everyone is now wondering, what happens next? However, what did Larry Bird mean when he grabbed the microphone? Support, guidance, or something else entirely? Keep your eyes fixed on your screen. Basketball fans assumed they were in for a typical summer event when Larry Bird and Caitlyn Clark lit up the court. They expected another polished appearance, another highlight video, and another Q&A session with Caitlyn Clark, the emerging star of women's basketball. Instead, they received an unscripted historical lightning bolt, the sort of moment that cannot be captured by a scoreboard. When NBA icon and Indiana royalty Larry Bird, a man known for his actions rather than his words, appeared out of nowhere, all eyes were on Clark, who was standing strong in her element. Nobody anticipated his appearance on stage. Nevertheless, he was present, and Bird grabbed the microphone directly out of Clark's hands in a move that sent the entire gym into a frenzy. The audience let out a gasp. Was it a passing of the torch, a jest, or a jab? That's where the moment's magic is. Nobody truly knows. We do know that Bird's brief, but incisive remarks left the audience speechless and Clark smiling. It was not impolite. Despite not being practiced, it had the weight of a tradition. The styles of Bird, who in the 1980s defined toughness and vision, and Clark, who is reinventing playmaking in the 2020s, are completely different. But they have one uncommon thing in common: command. They dominate the court, the tempo, and now it seems the discourse. That microphone transfer evolved into more than just a peculiarity. It began to represent the bond between two periods of greatness. Social media took over in a matter of hours. There were clips of the moment everywhere.
It was deemed awkward by some.
For others, it was amazing. However, there was more to it than the hot takes and headlines. An understanding that the greatness of basketball transcends gender and generation. This was not the first time a legend entered a rising star's orbit. Mentorship, whether intentional or covert, has long been respected in the basketball community. Additionally, it raises more than simply a player when someone like Bird recognizes someone like Clark. It improves the women's game as a whole. Clark did not recoil. She rolled with it like the pro she has become, grinned and chuckled. Bird might have been trying to test her. Perhaps he was cheering her on. Perhaps both. Regardless of his intention, he reminded everyone of the game's allure, not only for what occurs on the hardwood, but also for these infrequent, spontaneous moments. Thus, a quick microphone grab turned into a significant event. Because of heritage, embracing the future, and making a wink that fans won't soon forget. Not because of turmoil. The microphone grab that caused a stir. The world of sports occasionally provides us with an exhilarating moment that isn't merely unexpected. Even if it only lasts a few seconds, it may lead to hours of debate, waves of admiration, and yes, a lot of conjecture. That's just what occurred when one of basketball's most famous legends, Larry Bird, made an unexpected play that had everyone staring at the screen. Birds moved up to take the microphone during a live event when Caitlyn Clark was speaking. Suddenly, the internet burst, mouths dropped, and cameras clicked. Look past the video to see why this particular moment was so significant. Bird, a man who used presence, strength, and accuracy to create his legacy, hardly ever makes meaningless public motions. She's not just another up-and-coming sensation, Clark. She represents the new generation of women's basketball. She has set records and gained respect thanks to her keen shooting, excellent court IQ, and intense desire. Fans couldn't help but ponder what it meant when basketball's past and present collided in such an unexpected way. Was it a brief moment of amusement, a show of encouragement, or something more? A Hall of Famer giving a silent nod to someone he believes has great potential? Bird rarely shows casual interest because of his infamously high standards. He has a reputation for seeing brilliance, and many people think that Clark's audacious approach is reminiscent of his own. Self-assured, unrelenting, and unrepentantly talented. Furthermore, these impromptu exchanges between WNBA players and NBA luminaries have significance off the court. They dispel long-held prejudices, highlight brilliance of all genders, and demonstrate to young admirers, especially girls, that greatness is unclassifiable.
Perhaps a basic microphone grab.
However, it also raised a more significant query. Is the basketball community finally recognizing the genius that has always been there? Furthermore, it goes beyond Bird and Clark. These exchanges can spread quickly, especially when they are recorded in real time. A courtside surprise can turn into a viral sensation with the help of websites like YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. People who don't even watch basketball are now talking, sharing, and watching. It combines entertainment with athletics in a way that appeals to everyone, creating a unique crossover moment for diehard supporters and casual viewers. Again, we might never find out what Bird's true thoughts were at the time. Was it praise, a lighthearted digression, or a message that only he and Clark could decipher? Whatever the facts, there's no denying that it made an impression. Additionally, if it caused others to reconsider women's basketball and Caitlyn, then perhaps it was never simply about the microphone, especially with Clark. Perhaps the idea was to pass the torch in the most unexpected manner imaginable. However, what did Larry Bird intend to convey with that microphone move? And why is everyone talking about it so much?
Keep an eye out.
Fans are stunned by Larry Bird's sudden action, which also raises questions. One unforeseen occurrence has now become the talk of both leagues because of the buzz that exists at the nexus of storytelling and sports. It wasn't simply a strange courtside surprise when NBA legend Larry Bird lunged for Caitlyn Clark's microphone during a live WNBA event.